Hi there, this is Lee. And I'm trying to see if the viewers out there recall the movie Total Recall, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. It came out um, the late 80s, I believe. And there might have even been a reimagining or something, but I haven't seen that. I just recall the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And in the movie, and it's based on a story by Philip Dick, famous science fiction writer. We can remember it for you wholesale. And it's a commentary, I believe, on the capitalism of things that should not be capitalized. Public goods, for one. In the story, the movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character participates in colonization of Mars, terraforming, and one particular aspect of the movie is that on Mars, oxygen is a precious and rare resource. And so naturally, the corporation that controls access to oxygen controls Mars. And it spins out to be a cruel story where this corporation decides to cut off oxygen to certain areas of the Mars terraforming area. And there's an effort by Arnold Schwarzenegger's character to liberate oxygen so all may breathe. And so that's part of the central conflict in that story. I say all that because there's a story at Common Dreams, a progressive website that gives details of a lot of strange doings across the nation. This is about the Flint water crisis. And so I think you see where this is going. There's a corporation that you may have heard of. It's called Nestle. The title of this article is As Flint Suffers, Nestle Plans Dramatic Expansion of Water Privatization in Michigan. This is dated Tuesday, November 1st. It's by Lauren McCauley. And so it says that the state of Michigan has reportedly issued preliminary approval for bottled water behemoth Nestle to nearly triple the amount of groundwater it will pump to be bottled and sold at its Ice Mountain plant, which lies roughly 120 miles northwest of the beleaguered community of Flint. And I'll post a link in this description of this article. But in essence, what it appears to me to be is that Michigan has allowed bad things to happen to its population. There's been much suffering there due to aggressive activity by large corporations. And then the people, the citizens, are caught in the crossfire. So now the water crisis. We've heard about water being life, and water is life. We cannot survive without it, without clean, drinkable, potable water. And we see people in North Dakota willing to put their lives and their bodies on the line to maintain a clean water source. People know what happens when the water is poisoned. The children of Flint have suffered. Lead poisoning is irreversible. They've been damaged by what has happened there. And so people are willing to put their lives on the line to maintain a clean water source. And reading this article, you see that they're up against millions of dollars, corporations, and people willing to sell a public good to a private entity to sell back to the public. It's the privatization of public goods. And I've also done on this channel explanations of the Trade and Services Agreement, which is one of the large world-ending extinction level event offensive investor state dispute settlement type of trade deals that would provide more instances of these without any legal redress. So Nestle is basically taking advantage of Flint and the people in Flint, pumping out clean water that's available far underground. Nestle is taking that water, the clean water that's available underground, transporting it to bottle, and then we'll be selling it back to Flint, all around the United States. And so that water underground, the clean water, it's not going to the citizens to be a new public water source. The municipal water that's available is contaminated still. It's undrinkable. And so what we have here in general is large corporations poisoning water, a basic good that we cannot live without. Next to oxygen, it's one of the things, specific things that humans cannot survive without. Oxygen, water, food, shelter. But definitely water is in the top two. And so the water is being poisoned by these large corporations, not just in Flint, not just in North Dakota. There's contamination, poisoning of the water. And then there is a selling off of the water that is clean, so that people have to actually purchase what should be available for free to us all. Otherwise, we get to the point where even oxygen, clean air, might become a commodity. This is, I don't know if we're coming to the science fiction era of, Total Recall, Mars, where we're buying oxygen next. But apparently there are communities that have to buy water. They have no other choice because the water that's available is poisoned. And so I'll post this link in the description. You can read through the article and consider the implications of what that means, and also what the implication of Trade and Services Agreement, TISA, possibly means. These awful trade deals that put people and planet and peace last, and then profit first. Definitely something to consider, the ramifications that should not be overlooked of what is happening in Flint, Michigan, and what is happening in North Dakota, and the fact that what is happening in these two communities can possibly spread all across the United States. This is where some people would like us to go. And I think, sustainable living is still possible. Resistance is possible, but we definitely need to pay attention to what's happening. If I can make any suggestion at all for the community of Flint, North Dakota, your community, would be maybe to invest in water storage on your own property, or go into joint arrangements in your community to capture rainwater, maybe snow, sleet, rain, whatever comes down from the sky, as a backup, because where we're headed is a frightening place. Nestle has already played very badly in the continent of Africa, convincing them to use baby formula, which requires water, over breast milk, misinforming that population because they wanted to sell a commodity that could have been free, so to speak. But they wanted that money. And the water that was used for that baby formula was contaminated, which resulted in sickness. But Nestle got paid, got their millions of dollars. So basically, they've already shown what they're willing to do on the continent of Africa. And apparently, they have no problem being ruthless with the community of Flint. And that's likely not their only stop, I don't think. But again, I'll let you read this article and you can come to your own conclusion of water being life and what that means when someone tries to make you pay for a public good that you are required to have in order to live. What price are you willing to pay? Good luck.